lahat ng opinyon, pagtingin, pananaw o kuro-kuro ng mga bisita at panauhin o mga anchors o host sa programang ito ay sarili at tanging opinyon at pananaw ng mga nabanggit at hindi opinyon o pananaw ng Aliw Broadcasting Corporation, mga producers o mga namamahala ng Aliw Broadcasting o anumang organisasyon na affiliated sa network at kailanman ay hindi iniendorso ng Aliw Broadcasting Corporation ang mga nabanggit na opinyon at pananaw sa programa.
Health is the best wealth sa mga working millennials na may kakaibang challenge pagdating sa kalusugan sa panahon ngayon. Body wellness, mental wellness, at financial wellness, be sure balance ang lahat sa DWIZ Life Balance. Kasama sina Daryl Justin at Guia Rafael. DWIZ Life Balance.
Huwag mong pipindutin yan. What's up, partner?
What's up? Yahoy!
Yahoy! Shoutout po kay Miss Juby de Guzman.
Yahoy!
Na nanonood at nakikinig ng Life Balance. Kasama natin, Guia Rafael na, wow, nag-usap tayo, nag-quote ngayon. No? Nag-usap kami.
Para mukha tayo, alam mo na.
You look like a Senior Vice President for
Ng ano?
Creative Writing Affairs. Kaya mo yan.
Senior Vice President of Explainers.
Okay.
At siya naman po si Daryl Justin na bluer than blue. Ang outfit, hindi yung
Bluer than... Sino nagpapatugtog?
pero kumanta pa rin.
Blind item. Tayo po ay mapapakinggan sa DWIZ 882 Metro and Mega Manila, DWIZ News FM regional stations, syempre sa ginagawang radyong kanilang mga TV, sa DWIZ News TV, sa Digital Free TV.
At mapapanood at mapapakinggan naman kami via website na www.dwiz82am.com at i-download sa inyong mga app na ang inyong iOS at Android
Download
phone
yung apps.
ang aming app na DWIZ 882 at live streaming partner saan?
Streaming yan eh.
Streaming?
Oo, live streaming.
Live streaming!
Live streaming
Via
ba?
DWIZ 882 Facebook page and YouTube channel. At huwag kakalimutang mag-like, follow, subscribe, share, and comment your
Comment.
questions and reactions sa ating episode every day.
Flashback katsak
Yun.
number 1. Ganun ha. Ganun. Sana naman yung number 2 mamaya.
Sige, sige.
Pwede maralim na. Madalas nating marinig ang anxiety at depression pero alam ba natin ang pagkakaiba ng dalawa? Pareho silang may epekto sa ating isip at damdamin pero magkaiba ang kanilang sintomas at paraan ng pagharap sa mga ito. Para mas maunawaan natin ito, narito si Dr. Carmina Charmaine Bernardo, isang psychiatrist mula sa Makati Medical Center upang ipaliwanag ito at kung paano natin ito maaaring lagpasan. So,
Go!
Kaba. Tapos may kasamang anxiety. Yung nagtutuloy-tuloy siya, yung tipong araw-araw may nararamdaman kang ganun. Pero aware ka naman na dahil sa ganito, sa ganyan, kaya ka kinakabahan. Pero Dok, sa tingin niyo po, ano pang ibang posibleng reason kung bakit nakakaramdam ng kaba araw-araw ang isang tao? And ano po para sa inyo yung proper coping mechanism?
Okay, yeah. So, anxiety, that's usually ayan ang tanong sa akin. Doc, anong difference ng depression? Anong difference ng anxiety? Anong difference ng kaba at saka lungkot? You know, lungkot is that, you're depressed, you're not able to move, you don't find things interesting anymore. Kung dati, hobby mo, mag-soccer, ngayon, parang ayaw mo humawak ng bola, your sleep is disturbed, you have concentration difficulties, hindi ka makonsentrate sa trabaho mo. So mostly that is pointing towards a depression. When we say anxiety, usually the symptoms are coming out physical. Hindi ako makalunok. Na-disturb ang stomach ko, pwedeng diarrhea or the other one, or kumakabog ang dibdib ko, parang yung puso ko lalabas sa dibdib ko, or mas sumasakit ang ulo ko, or hindi ako makahinga, But then, usually these people, because the symptoms are so physical, of course, hindi ka pupunta sa psychiatrist. Kung kinakabahan ka, kumakabog ang dibdib mo, cardio. Kung hindi ka makalunok, ENT or GI, Or parang kumakalamas sikmuro mo, GI yan. Hindi ka makahinga, pulmo. So of course, when they go to this specialist, this specialist will do a lot because they're concerned. Hindi ka makahinga, so, or masakit, or may kabado yung puso mo, so they will do the ECG, the 2D echo, all of this, Pwede sa pulmo, lahat ng function test gagawin nila. And then everything is normal. And then sa kanila sasabihin, wala kaming nakita, ka, lahat normal, yung puso mo okay, yung lungs mo okay, yung stomach mo okay, baka anxiety to. You need to go to a specialist, you need to go to psychiatry. So usually, pag abot nila sa akin, ganun yung daladalang mga medical records. Kasi nga, all
Dami
of
ng
these are
reference.
labs. Oo, and all are normal. So that's one. That's one. Another could actually be medical. Thyroid, yung ating goiter. When it's hyperactive, it can mimic anxiety. You know, pero may mga iba pang symptoms na lalabas siya, masyadong magpapawis, you know, so the tremor, so that could be a medical cause. So of course others will be drugs. You know, if the patient is into recreational drugs, shabu, cocaine, of course it will stimulate anxiety, or it could also be marijuana. Others could actually drug interactions, like for example are steroids. Steroids can actually cause a depression or could cause a mania, yung tinatawag natin na roid rage. So there are different factors contributing to anxiety. But the main thing there is that anxiety, it comes out physically. And sabi mo nga, lahat naman tayo kinakabahan eh. You know, pag kunyari mag-e-exam tayo, kakabahan. Pag haharap ka sa tao, in front of the stage, you're nervous. The thing is, in order for it to become a disorder, your functioning is affected. So, kunyari mag-e-exam, sakit ang tiyan ko, nahihilo ko, hindi na lang ako mag-e-exam. You know, or ayoko na lumabas ng bahay. Magsasalita ka, ayoko na, kinakabahan ako, uuwi na lang ako. But if you go through with it, alam mong kabado ka, but you go through it, the functioning is not affected. You know, you're able to, you know that it's anxiety, but you need to perform, you need to do these things. You know, it is required of you. So, hindi siya, nagiging disorder siya pag ganon, hindi natutuloy or de-delay mo or hindi ka mag-e-exam.
Ayun.
Yun.
Kaba.
Ha?
Bakit?
Sakit ng tiyan daw.
Ayun nga, double whammy ka doon sa video, no?
Parang ginawa para sa akin ng video na yan.
Tapos ang itsura mo noon, paano yan? Paano? Sampal niya. Wala na nakikinig ka, Doc.
Saka ganito.
Ayun. Grabe naman siya nakaganyan.
Kasi sumasakit. Ay, sinabi pa.
Mamaya na yun! Segment 2 na raw. Ayan.
Okay, segment number 2.
Oh, yun.
Short lang. Kasi one-time thing lang yung...
Hindi, isa pa, tiga mo. Ayan, basta.
Ayun. Ayun ba yan?
Ayan, okay.
Alam nyo ba, partner, na ang peer pressure
Wow.
ay hindi lang nakakaapekto sa kabataan, kundi pati na rin sa buong pamilya. Minsan, ang matinding pangangailangang makisabay o makisama ay maaaring humantong sa hindi magandang desisyon na nagdudulot ng hindi pagkakaunawaan o gulo sa pamilya. Para mas maintindihan natin kung paano ito nakakaapekto sa ating relasyon sa pamilya at kung paano ito maiiwasan, narito si Dr. Camille Garcia, isang psychologist, upang ibahagi ang kanyang kaalaman at payo.
Doc Camille, go!
Actually, pag sinabi mo ganun, especially comparison, lalo na sa mga bata ngayon, we were able to have some patients as early as 10 hanggang 7 years old to 10 years old. Tapos daw sasabihin nila, alam mo, sasabihin na pressure kami dahil sinabi ng magulang namin, kailangan you have to, may mga grabe expectations sa studies, grabe expectations na they are being compared to elder sisters. Or kaya naman, sasabihin din, kasi syempre, alam mo naman, maraming social media platforms, ang mga magulang, syempre, excited, pinapost ang achievement, tapos sasabihin, oh, tingnan mo yung teacher mo, ang daming medalyang nakuha, tapos ikaw, wala ka nakuha. Diba? Parang yung comparison lang na yun, parang makes you as a person, or isang bata na bumababa ang self-esteem, ang tingin nila sa kanila, parang hopeless na ako, napaka-worthless ko, dahil kasi wala akong naibigay na achievement sa magulang ko. So, parang unti-unti nag-uumpisa na yung mga possible red flags pero nai-ignore ng magulang kasi ang iniisip nila parang baliwala lang dahil sinabi lang nila yung mga statement na yun pero it is hurting.
Doc, in connection with pagko-compare at saka doon sa generation gap kanina, sa tingin niyo po bakit yung mga older generations hindi pinag-uusapan or hindi gaano pinag-uusapan ng mental health?
Una, pagkaroon naman ang depression, di nila alam. Sorry. As in, hindi talaga alam. Kasi pag sinabi mo, alam lang nila malungkot. Pero hindi nila alam na talagang merong tinatawag na depression. Parang sinabi mo rin na yung isang bata pasaway. Hindi nila alam na yun ay ADHD. Parang gano'n. Unlike ngayon, may mga labeling na kasi ng mga ganyan. So, mas bibigyan ng pagkakataon na magkaroon ng early diagnosis. Pero pag sa dati, sasabihin lang nila, makulit lang yan eh. magulo lang yan eh. So parang akala nila ang pag-handle nun is parang reward punishment thing, or kaya naman it is a phase, yung mga tipong gano'n. Kaya sila, naniniwala nila, imbes na yung mga anak nila sabihin ng doctor, bakit ako? Bakit nung panahon ko? Bakit ganyan ka? Samantalang ako ganito. So mismo silang mga magulang, kino-compare yung mga anak nila sa panahon nila. Kaya nakakalungkot. Kaya pagdating sa ganyan, eto na, nangyayari. Bigla na lang makikita mo, nag-isolate na.
Ayun, nag-isolate daw. Kala ko tuloy COVID.
Huy!
Hindi, dun kasi
Tapos
naging-popular
na tayo
yung
sa
part.
ano
Ah,
na
okay.
yan,
Akala ko lang
Huwag
naman.
na sanang bumalik ang COVID.
Napakahirap nung panahon na yun.
Sobra.
Ano ginagawa mo nun?
Diyos ko,
Bago
ang
natin
daming
pakilala
ganito.
si Doc. Oh.
Ha, ginagawa ko nung COVID. Second year ako nun, online class.
Inabutan ka ng pandemic era of studying.
First year, ano yung face-to-face pa. Tapos, nag-lockdown pagdating ng second sem. Ayun na, puro online class. Ikaw, ang ginagawa mo nun?
2020, busy ako sa church mag-asikaso ng mga online masses. Yes.
Coordinator.
Hindi
Ano
coordinator.
Ano ka?
Kung anong ginagawa ni Jay, yung ginagawa ni Boss Wilwa, and all. Behind the scenes. Of course!
Marunong siya talaga sa tech.
I can introduce our topic today.
Oo, go.
Ayun.
Ano ba yan?
Uy, usaping digestive health po
Yun.
tayo. Kung saan, para sa'yo tong topic na to.
Ako na Nahihiya na ako,
Kasama natin,
Doc John
uy,
Derek.
part 2.
Oo nga, part 2 with Doc John Derek Lutario, isang gastroenterologist from Makati Med.
Yan,
Hello,
Doc Derek.
Doc.
Uy, ang bilis naman ng part 2, Doc. Thank you,
Thanks for having me again.
Of course,
Appreciate
Doc.
the
We
invite,
are very happy na ang saya lalo na nung huling episode natin kay Doc na nag-Q&A tayo ng Mythbusters
yung
natin.
Mythbusters,
Ulitin natin yung mamaya.
Syempre.
Ready tayo ngayon.
Aha.
Okay, sige. Ngayon naman, subukan naman natin i-dissect maigi at unawain ang digestive health. Doc, bakit nga ba importante ang digestive health at gaano ba ito nakakaapekto sa overall well-being po ng isang tao?
Okay, so pag digestive health, I'd like to see it into 3 aspects. Number 1, it would be yung pagkain natin, no? Yung pag-absorb ng nutrients, yung pag-process niya, meaning yung pag-digest. Number 2, pag-absorb, meaning hindi lang natin siya i-digest, i-absorb din natin siya for the nutrients. And lastly, for waste management. So meaning kapag ating pagtanggal or pagdumi. Importante siya kasi basically our whole ecosystem inside the body or how we function will depend on what we take in. Sabi nga nila, di ba, you are what you eat. So depending on what we eat, based on this, we can actually be at risk for multiple diseases. Parang nung last topic natin, pinag-usapan natin yung cancer, no? So certain intake of certain foods can lead us into different illnesses. At the same time, whatever we eat will actually help us prevent in getting certain diseases as well.
Okay.
Pero Doc, ano ba yung pinaka-common na digestive problems na na-experience ng mga tao, especially yung mga na-encounter nyo ng pasyente?
Pinaka number 1, yung sinasabi nating empacho, yung mga dyspepsia, tinatawag natin. Acid peptic disease o yung pangangasim, o mga reflux symptoms. I'd like to include pa rin yung mga constipation o yung mga diarrhea into the digestive health kasi nga pati waste management, nabanggit ko nga po parte. So ito yung mga common na nababanggit sa akin or mga complaints ng mga patients sa akin.
Okay. So ngayon naman, dako naman tayo, Doc, about talking about, ako talaga yung mag-introduce diet at lifestyle.
Hindi rin naman pwedeng ako.
Parang, this episode is for the both of us. Doc, best and worst foods when we talk about gut health.
Okay, sige. Let's start muna sa negative para maganda yung ending natin.
Ayan, tama.
So, number 1 pa rin yung mga processed food. Processed food meaning, again, going back to hotdog, longganisa, tocino.
Lumpiang Shanghai.
Uy,
Lumpiang Shanghai actually,
Ay,
how
parang
you cook it, lumpia. Shanghai kasi prito, no? So yung method ng pagprito is actually that one kasi medyo oily siya. So what we want to avoid pa rin yung oily food. But yung mga lumpiang sariwa, I would
favorite
actually
ko
be
pa rin
okay with
yun.
lumpiang sariwa kasi hindi siya pinrocess. It's just green leafy vegetables, some sauce, and hindi mo na siya kailangan iprito. What's actually negative about that is when you dip it in that kumukulong mantika and actually process it because of the oil. So, to add to that is because hindi lang sa processed meat, the method that we cook these processed meats would be actually under cooking oil.
Okay.
Kahit mag-olive oil pa tayo, it still can't reverse the way kasi processed pa rin yung meat. And I'll just put a counterpart. No? Sige, let's put the negative and then the positive. So yung counterpart na pwede natin piliin instead of the processed meats would actually be fresh meats. So chicken, fish, more than the red meats. So this is what we want to take in. Mga red meat kasi of course yung mga beef, mga steaks, alam ko medyo uso siya. But we'd be okay with having that in moderation. But what we'd like to have is that what we call yung mga Mediterranean diet.
Sorry, Doc. Bago ako mawala sa train of thought ko on asking this question.
Sorry.
We're talking about food. Sabi niyo nga, prito is kinda, medyo on the negative naman. Kahit hindi ko sure kung may ilan. Pero when you talk about meat, kadalasan kasi ang gusto ng tao pag meat, prito.
Siyempre.
Pero
malutong.
kung, for example, Doc, if I were to ask you, which is the healthier option? Is it steamed, grilled, or, well, cooked is probably the least.
Apo.
Or if deep fried.
Apo. I would actually prefer the steamed route. So steamed fish, steamed chicken, but I understand some patients would actually not want that kasi medyo bland, matabang yung lasa. Masarap yung prito oily, scrumptious yung lasa, even the grilled ones. Yung problem natin with the prito, again, oily nga siya. Number 2, yung pag-grill, because of the charcoal, the heat, the smoke that it produces, may tinatawag mga nitrosamines. So these are also, this can actually lead to some cancerous diseases.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we'd like to avoid those.
Tinamaan na naman yung mga pinagkakakain.
Hindi lang, ako din naman. Guilty din naman ako. Parang kahit naman sino, kahit masiguro sino. I mean, di ba? We can't avoid lalo na, for example, family gatherings, occasions, and things of that nature.
Yeah.
You can't avoid that.
So, I'll add on to that. So, with the, nabanggit yung pagkain, with the intake naman, alcohol pa rin. Alcohol pa rin is a culprit. Yung mga soft drinks, so all these very sugary or mga high sugar drinks, kahit yung mga energy drinks actually. Could be, I know, most of us are trying to work a lot. Tayo mga Pilipino, masisipag tayo. And
Of course!
sometimes hindi natin maiwasan na inaantok tayo at ang katuwang natin itong mga energy drinks which are very, very high in sugar. As well as yung carbonation ng mga drinks na to. So for example, sugary na siya, carbonated pa siya. Usually ito yung mga nagkakos ng mga symptoms ng digestive symptoms, yung mga dyspepsia, empacho, yung bloatedness. Dahil nga po carbonated siya. Yeah.
Pero ito, Doc, yung stress ba nakaka-apekto sa digestion?
Actually, yes, that's very true.
Paano, Doc?
Meron po tayong tinatawag na disease, ang tinatawag ay irritable bowel syndrome. So it's not to be confused with inflammatory bowel disease or yung IBD. One of the trigger points ng IBS is stress. So it can be stress from work, it could be any kind of situation. It could be two things. Either magkaroon ka ng mga hyperacidity symptoms, mabilis kang mabusog. It could actually cause either diarrhea or constipation. So medyo malaki yung wide yung area na sinasakop ng irritable bowel syndrome. Mainly because we have this brain-gut axis that we call. So whatever we actually think or actually feel, depending on our experiences, can actually affect our digestive system.
Medyo magbibigay ako ng mga pa-teaser sa ating mga Mythbusters. Kasi ang tanong dito is, drinking coffee, tea, or alcohol bad for the stomach? Isa-isahin na lang natin, Doc.
Sige.
Coffee.
Actually, maganda yan kasi
Yes or is it good or bad?
coffee is okay, but always sa doctor's end is everything in moderation. So, magtatanong tayo, ano ba yung moderate? Doc, kasi very subjective yung moderate, no? Sabihin natin na ang moderate siguro sa akin, 3 cups a day, but that's not actually good. So what we want is at least 1 to 2 cups of coffee a day. Sometimes, mag-Starbucks kayo, whatever store, yung isang venti, just for everyone's sake, no? Just isang venti cup ng Starbucks, let's say any drink, mga caramel macchiato, ganyan. It's actually 3 to 4 shots of espresso. That's equivalent to 3 to 4 cups of coffee already. So, pag nagdalawa kayong ganon, hindi nyo pwedeng utakan yung doktor niya na, Doc, nakakadalawang cups ako, pero 220 pala yun. So, that's a lot of cups. That's a lot of cups of coffee.
Nang gaslight pa no? 2 cup lang naman yun.
Yeah.
20 lang
So, that's for coffee.
Ito, meron ako dito 20. Bigyan kita. 40, gusto mo ba?
Kahit 20, di makakabili niyan eh.
Doc, tuloy mo na.
So, with the tea, the next question is tea, no? Yes, okay lang din yung tea, but again, in moderation, because tea still has caffeine, so it still gets you that feeling, but it's much less content compared to coffee. But again, we can't really have multiple cups of tea. Kasi for example ako, like, some patients will be having these reflux symptoms, nangangasim sila. What I would tell them, of course, sasabihin ko lahat ng kailangan nilang i-avoid. But some patients, of course, they can't function without these things. And ayoko naman i-suppress yung desires ng some patients. Pinagbibigyan natin. Na as long as you see that these drinks are not your triggers, then that's well and good. You can tell the patients na okay lang, you can take your coffee, you can take your tea once a day or twice a day max, just so that they can still function the way they can.
Sorry, Doc. Singit ako. We talked about tea. Paano daw yung tea na may milk sa unahan?
Okay.
Yung may sago.
Ayan! Ang galing mo talaga, partner!
Diyan ako magaling.
So marami
Hindi,
tayong...
bibitinin. Sorry, Doc.
Sige.
Bibitinin ko na muna pala. Balikan
Okay.
natin yung tea na may milk sa unahan at mayroong kasamang...
Sago.
Oo, kasi kailangan na rin natin maghanap buhay. Oh. Bibili kami ng tea na may...
Na may milk.
Hindi! Magbe-break
Ay,
tayo,
hindi.
partner!
Oo, kasi sabi mo eh.
Walang magsilipat ng stasyon ng radyo at walang ano ba?
Walang lilipat ng channel.
Ayan, ng TV.
Oo, bitawan na lang ang remote. Mas maganda yun.
Makinig sa news at syempre sa komersyal. Magbabalik po ang Life Balance.
DWIZ Life Balance. Kasama sina Daryl Justin at Guia Rafael.
Sa batas na gawa ng idol ko, yung pamangkin kong kulang ang tuition, nakapag-exam.
Yun lang, yung idol ko nga may batas para sa libreng supplies ng mga teacher.
Yung birth certificate natin, nagawang no expiry ng idol ko.
Meron ba siyang batas para sa cash gift ng mga senior kahit wala pang edad sandaan?
O bakit? Idol mo ba gumawa ng batas sa helmet?
Oh, at marami pang iba.
Teka, Lods, idol mo yata idol ko eh. Si Senator Bong Revilla.
Bong Revilla po, number 11 sa balota.
This political advertisement is paid for and by Ramon Bong Revilla Jr., 305 Aguinaldo Highway, Bacoor, Cavite.
Umasa ka sa Diyos, ang mabuti gawin, at mananahan kang ligtas sa lupain. Kay Yahweh mo hanapin ang kaligayahan, at ang pangarap mo'y iyong makakamtan. Mga awit, Kabanata 37, talata 3 at 4.
Ang mabuting balita ay hatid sa inyo ng MX3. MX3. Dito ako, Bilip.
Come on, let's go to Isuzu Jaguars. You won't regret it. Come on, let's go to Isuzu Jaguars. We've got your back. Isuzu Jaguars, your partner through it all. Isuzu Jaguars, Isuzu Jaguars, Isuzu Jaguars. Let's journey together.
Visit Isuzu Gencars Makati, Isuzu Santa Rosa, Isuzu Batangas Santo Tomas, Isuzu Batangas City, Isuzu San Pablo, Isuzu Legazpi, and Isuzu Naga.
Papalakas ng papalakas, palinaw ng palinaw, mga balita at impormasyong naiintindihan dahil malinaw mong nalaman. Tutok lang sa DWIZ mula umaga hanggang gabi. Updated on air and online. DWIZ, nagbabalita ng tama, naglilingkod ng tama. Latest, pinakabago at tama. DWIZ News Catch Up. News Catch Up.
Magandang gabi Pilipinas, narito na ang tamang balita sa mga oras na ito. Inanunsya ng Vatican na itinakda sa darating na Sabado, Abril 26, ang libing ni Pope Francis sa St. Peter's Basilica. Ayon sa Vatican, dadalhin muna sa loob ng simbahan ang kabaong ng Santo Papa bago ito ilipat sa Papal Basilica of St. Mary Major kung saan siya ililibing. Base sa Spiritual Testament ni Pope Francis na isinulat niya noong June 2022, nakasaad ang kanyang pagnanais na doon ilibing at hiniling din ito na gawing simple lamang ang kanyang libingan.
DWIZ News Catch Up. News Catch Up.
At yan ang tamang balita sa mga oras na ito. Mag-follow at subscribe sa lahat ng DWIZ News digital channels, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, X, DWIZ News app at DWIZ News website. Ako po si Haya Ledivico, nagbabalita ng tama, naglilingkod ng tama.
Oras-oras nagbabalita ng tama, naglilingkod ng tama. DWIZ News Catch Up. News Catch Up. DWIZ Life Balance kasama sina Daryl Justin at Guia Rafael.
Mabo!
Eh.
Nakabili na kami ng tea na mayroong...
Milk na may sago.
Ayun, de joke lang. Nagbabalik po ang Life Balance. Kasama natin.
Sino?
Si Guia Rafael na mahilig sa sago.
Baka tahuyan, ha? At ito naman si Daryl Justin.
O, sige.
Na?
Mahilig saan?
Over 10 blue.
Binalik pa rin sa kulay.
Yan.
Dok, biniting kita. I'm so sorry. Pero balikan na natin. We were talking about what's good and bad for the stomach. So, yung tea na may milk sa unahan at may kasamang sago.
Ayan. So, tatlo yun. Milk, tea, tsaka sago.
Naku, mukhang triple kill.
Oo, so yung milk is a little bit fat. Dairy pa rin siya, no? So fatty. So for some of our brothers and sisters na lactose intolerant, they might actually not be able to take these. Yung tea, still with caffeine, so that's okay, but in moderation. And then lastly, yung sago, high in sugar pa rin siya. So kumbaga, madami tayong tinamaan dun sa milk tea. Hindi pa natin in-account for yung syrup, di ba? May mga sweetness level pa yan. 25, 50, 75, 100. So I would say, depending on how the patient can take the milk tea. If pag unang intake mo pa lang, especially for lactose intolerant, no, just avoid it. If you take it in and then okay, just take siguro once a week, just to satisfy that craving, you have no problem with that as long as you don't do it every day,
Sorry, mag-deviate lang ako ng konti. Kasi you've been mentioning, Doc, yung lactose intolerant. Ang pagiging lactose intolerant ba, naku-cure yan sa person?
Some patients, sa patients when we start, na de-desensitize natin yung ibang patients na may lactose intolerance. When initially, actually with other allergies, other types of intolerance, kapag na-introduce sila early, some of them will actually have tolerance.
Okay.
But some patients, they actually don't. So they take certain enzymes, gamot, para lang kung alam nilang iinom sila ng gatas these days. May isa akong kilalang kaibigan na yung nanay ng kanyang nobya ay mahilig talaga sa certain dairy product.
Okay.
So he would actually take in this enzyme para lang kayanin niya at hindi mabanyo agad after taking in that dairy product. So actually, it's very sweet.
Saka safe to say, Doc, it's a case-to-case basis.
Yes.
Okay, ayun. So sorry, naisingit ko lang yun kasi I think that's important. Kasi iba kasi baka hindi nila na-absorb yung when they say someone is lactose intolerant. At least if that was clear. So tapos na tayo dun sa coffee, tapos na tayo sa tea, pati dun sa tea na may gatas sa umpisa. Ngayon naman!
Ito na, ang paborito ng bayan. Alcohol.
Isopropyl
Wow!
Hindi
Ilang
pa yun.
percent?
Ayan, sa alcohol.
So, as we'd like to tell all our patients na wag totally avoid, of course, we can't really hide the fact that some patients will actually not really stop drinking. Ang advice namin is actually for male, two standard drinks max per day, and then for women, one. So mga approximately 6 to 8 ounces yun ng drink. Sometimes 1 shot or 2 shots. That's for the whole night. Okay. So yun ang pinaka-max na pwede. We're not encouraging everyone to drink alcohol. But this is what we would advise if some patients can't really avoid alcohol. Yun po yung max na pwede naming sabihin sa kanila.
Okay, ngayon naman, partner.
Grabe yun.
Common.
Yung tea na may milk. Hindi ko makalimutan. Grabe.
Ang word of the day mo ay tea na may...
Milk tsaka sago.
Okay.
Noted, pero noted yung mga sinabi.
Oh naman, of course.
That's noted. Eto na.
Cancel order.
May order ka pala.
Hindi, wala. Joke lang ko naman, partner.
Okay, ito na.
Go.
Dok, paano ba malalaman kung yung stomach pain ba ay serious na at kailangan na ng medical attention?
Okay. So, one of our primary considerations pag nagkakaroon ng pain, especially dito sa epigastric area, dito tinatawag natin mga heartburn symptoms. Surprising to know din for everyone na 52% of it are cardiac. So meaning it could also be coming from the heart. So it doesn't mean na dapat kapag nagkakaroon lang po tayo ng mga epigastric pain or burning sensation dito, ay sabihin natin, ay nangangasim lang ako, baka dahil lang po nag-vinegar ako, baka lang po nag-tsokolate, baka po ako nag-soft drinks. Maari po itong seryoso, lalo na po pag sudden yung pain, meaning biglaan, 10 out of 10, umaabot sa likod. May mga ganong klaseng pain po na umaabot sa likod. So it would be advisable po na magpatingin po sa doktor kapag ganitong klase po yung pain na nararamdaman natin. Kasi maaari pong galing po sa puso. Magkakalapit po yan, yung puso, yung tiyan. Pwede pong cardiac ang tinatawag na origin ng pain.
Okay.
At the same time, meron din pong sakit na tinatawag yung acute pancreatitis. So this could be a manifestation. Usually po dito nagsisimula, umaabot sa likod. Sometimes kapag meron pong pain dito, tapos pag dumumi kayo, nakita nyo itim, maaari pong dun din po galing sa tiyan natin, nagdugo, may ulcer po na pumutok, ulcer na nabutas, at nag-result po ito ng bleeding sa ating tiyan. Kaya hindi po natin ito basta-basta pwedeng baliwalain.
Doc, when we say bloating, can you explain that? Kasi may ibang mga tao, partner, may iba-iba silang interpretation or definitions of bloating.
Okay. So yung bloating o yung bloatedness na tinatawag, sometimes, di ba sinasabi natin after kumain, parang ang bilis ko mabusog, na-empacho ako. Ito yung pag-accumulate ng air sa loob ng either tiyan, small intestine, or colon. Multiple reasons, pwede pong mabagal yung pagdaloy ng o paggalaw ng ating tiyan. Marami pong pwedeng cause, pwedeng electrolytes, yung sodium, potassium natin. Number 2, pwede pong constipation. So meaning kapag traffic sa baba, constipated tayo at di tayo makalabas, nagbaback up po yung air. Pwede pong ganon. Ngayon at ira din po ng Ozempic, if you've heard about this drug na...
I've been here, I've been here, pero hindi ko alam kung...
Lately, like ko naririnig at nababasa yan.
Opo. So, Ozempic is actually a drug for diabetic patients and people nowadays are using it. Let's just address the elephant in the room na some people use it even if wala silang diabetes for weight loss purposes.
Yan po yung nababasa
okay.
Basically, what it does, it actually, early satiety, meaning pinapabusog niya kayo ng maaga. Kaya hindi kayo kumakain ng madami, kaya kayo pumapayat. That's one of the main na mode of action o ginagawa ng gamot na ito. In line with that, since mabagal nga po, kaya kayo mabilis mabusog kasi mabagal yung pagdaloy ng tiyan. At dahil mabagal ang pagdaloy ng tiyan, nagkakaroon po ng accumulation ng air, kaya po nagkakaroon ng empacho o ng bloatedness. So kailangan din mo natin itong isipin at the back of our heads. Bakit kaya tayo bloated? Bakit kaya ako mabilis mabusog? Ay, oo nga pala, meron nga pala akong gamot na ini-intake. So these are one of the possible causes why.
Okay.
Doc, yung mga probiotics, yung paborito nating iniinom.
Probiotic. Di na natin papangalanan. Hanggat di tayo i-responsor. Bigla ganun.
Pero Doc, necessary ba siya sa gut health natin or at least nakakatulong man lang ba siya?
And good question kasi maraming ever since bata tayo, di ba tinatanong ba kung okay ba yung tiyan natin?
Oo nga.
Ayun, galing sa Megway din ito.
For some people, okay ang probiotics, especially if may recent insult yung tiyan. So meaning mga recent acute gastroenteritis, merong irritable bowel syndrome, meron pong certain evidence that nakakatulong po yung mga probiotics. But up to a certain extent. However, normally po sa diet pa lang po natin, we can actually gain natural probiotics, mga garlic, onion, mga kombucha, mga ganyan. Kimchi actually has a lot of mga probiotics. So, normally, if you're a healthy human being na walang sakit o walang recent na sakit na pinagdaanan, ay hindi po natin kailangan na mag-probiotic.
Okay. Ngayon ko lang nalaman.
It's not
Kasi may
needed.
iba kasi,
It's not needed, but you can actually take it. But there's no harm in taking it. It just could give you an expense that's unnecessary if you're a healthy human being.
So, Doc, ibig sabihin yung mga nag-i-intake or umiinom nung particular drink na yun na may probiotics, hindi naman masama kung araw-araw sila uminom nun?
It's wala naman. Walang harm. There's no harm in taking it. Yeah.
Okay.
Siya. Nakalimutan ko, partner. Mag-break na tayo. Pero bago tayo nakalimutan tayo ata ipasok.
Ano yun? Ay!
Oo, nakalimutan natin ipasok yon. So may ipapasok tayo.
Sorry.
Pistayo, kimi-kimi, pistayo. Bago tayo mag-break at magpunta sa favorite part ng ating bagong segment ng ating programa.
Ano yan?
Ano may papasok natin? Ayun,
Yan.
panoorin at pakinggan ang aming life hack for today. Roll VTR!
At para sa ating life hack ngayong araw, lagi ka bang nakakaranas ng kabag, bloating o hindi maayos na panunaw? Heto na ang simpleng solusyon para sa mas healthy at happy na tiyan. Sundan ng 3, 2, 1 digestive health rule. Ito ang 3 pagkain na dapat laging kasama sa dieta, gaya ng gulay at prutas na mayaman sa fiber para maiwasan ang constipation. Fermented foods tulad ng yogurt at kimchi para sa healthy gut bacteria. At uminom ng tubig. Uminom ng 8 hanggang 10 baso araw-araw para sa smooth digestion. At para naman sa mga bagay na dapat iwasan, ang processed foods at matatamis. Nagdudulot ito ng bloating at mabagal na panunaw. Mabilisang pagkain, nguyain ng mabuti para mas madaling matunaw ang pagkain. At ang isang simpleng habit na dapat nating gawin araw-araw, maglakad ng 10 to 15 minutes pagkatapos kumain para maiwasan ang kabag at acid reflux. Ang ating tip for today, kumain sa tamang oras at huwag magpalipas ng gutom para mas malakas ang katawan at iwas sa sakit sa tiyan.
At iyan!
Ang aming life hack for today.
Wala maglilipat ng stasyon ng radyo at ng TV. Magbabalik ang Life Balance.
DWIZ Life Balance. Kasama sina Daryl Justin at Guia Rafael.
Ayo'y magbonggo-bongo sa Senado. 28 ang kanyang numero. Mag-28 sa Senado. Senator Bongo. Go! Bongo! Piliin ang numero 28. Go Bongo sa balota. Ibalik sa Senado. Go Bongo na!
This political ads is paid for and made by Christopher Lawrence Tigo, Proc 4, San Jose, Lupon, Davao Oriental.
Bagong hamon na naman ang harapin. Kahit anong nararamdaman, lahat ay kakayanin. Sa tulong ng may kapal na sa atin ay nagmamahal with MX3. With MX3, tayo ay extraordinary. Araw-araw, MX3 para extraordinary. With alpha, beta, gamma na sangkap nito. Tunay, original at natural na suplemento. With MX3, capsule, coffee and tea. With MX3, it's for you and me. With MX3, dito ako believe.
Mahalagang paalala, ang MX3 capsule ay hindi gamot at hindi dapat gamiting panggamot sa anumang uri ng sakit.
Tunay na mahirap mag-ipon sa ngayon, ngunit mas mahirap ang hinaharap na walang ipon. Kung nais mong matulungan sa pagpaplano ng inyong kinabukasan at ng inyong pamilya, bumisita sa Fortune Life website www.fortunelife.com. Siguraduhin i-like at i-follow ang kanilang Facebook page at Instagram account. I-search lamang ang Fortune Life PH. Fortune Life, securing your tomorrow, today.
DWIZ.
DWIZ Life Balance. Kasama sina Daryl Justin at Guia Rafael.
Mabu! Nasaan kayo? Ayun, very good ka. Salamat sa iyo, parang Jamel. Dahil dyan, promoted ka na. Nagbabalik po ang Life Balance. Kasama natin, Guia Rafael.
Nagulat na gulat. Daryl Justin, nagyahoy ng yahoy.
Of course. At si Doc Derek nandito. Ay, patala tayo, partners. Itong segment natin na pinamagatong Mythbusters. Mamaya gagawa na si Boss
Simulan
Dennis
mo na.
ng stingers. Simulan na natin, Doc, base sa ating research.
Bigyan mo na
Uy,
isa.
meron na mamaya, marami-rami ngayon to. Doc, simulan na natin na. First myth about digestive health. Ang spicy food daw nakakapag-cause ng ulcer.
Actually, common question yan ng mga patients. No? Pwede ba ako magmaanghang ng magmaanghang kasi mahapde? Actually, hindi po. Ang cause ng actually gastric ulcers would actually be two things. One would be yung tinatawag naming Helicobacter pylori. Isa itong bacteria na pinaka-common nagkakos ng ulcers. At number two, ito yung mga NSAID. Ano natin sabihin yung mga brand, pero yung mefenamic acid. Yung mga painkillers na commonly na-abuse. Na hindi nila napapansin na sobrang dalas nilang tinitake. Eventually, nagkakos po ito ng damage sa lining ng tiyan. Causing the ulcers na na-aggravate lang po ng mga spicy food.
Okay.
Eto. You need to have a bowel movement every day or even more to be healthy.
Oh, yan. So, yan ang mga very good yung mga researcher ninyo.
Oo naman, Doc.
Sino ba yan?
Kaya nga nandito eh.
So, misconception din siya. It's a myth. What we want actually for patients to have is a wide range ng time. So, you can actually be okay with 3 times a week to 3 times a day. So yung mga patients, pagtataka, nagda-diarrhea ba ako, it's not really the frequency, but the character of the stool. So makita nating watery kahit mga 2 times. If your usual is really soft or hard stools, and then bigla ka mag-watery kahit twice lang yan, that's alarming for us. However, if it's normal for you to have 3 times a day, every after kain mo, you go, that's okay. And if your normal is actually 3 to 4 times a week, but that's how you've always been, and that's also okay.
Ayun.
Yeah.
Next, heartburn.
Oh.
Ayun.
Ayan.
Minor inconvenience lang daw ito, Doc. At hindi dapat ito, pwede naman daw ito ipagsawalang bahala.
Ayan, if anything, if you would get anything from what we had today is that hindi pwedeng baliwalain lang ang heartburn. Dahil okay kung tiyan lang ang problema mo, o hapdi lang yan, but if it's heartburn, it could also be cardiac nga po. Pwede pong heart ang problema, pwede po itong heart attack na minor pa lamang o nagsisimula pa lang. Kaya habang maaga, prevention pa rin is better than cure. So better to see your doctor once you have that heartburn symptoms.
Okay.
Eto, Doc, colon cleansing or detox is necessary for good health.
Ayan. So, yung colon cleansing, I know there's a lot of fads out there on how to do it. Caffeine, coffee cleansing. Our bodies are created in a way na can actually sustain itself. So, kaya natin mag-clear out ng waste. It's just that sometimes we have habits that prevent us from doing so. So, may it be decreased fiber in the diet. If we have that increased fiber in the diet, it could actually help us move more frequently, bulk up, and form the stools. Number 2, kulang tayo sa water. So sometimes we become constipated because we don't drink enough fluids. That causes the hard stools, that causes the difficult evacuation. Yan.
Ayun. Next, kung meron kang gallstones, dapat putulin mo kaagad anything that is fatty. Fatty foods or whatever that causes you to have fats.
I understand why there's a misconception on why you should cut out fats kapag merong gallbladder. Kasi ito yung gallbladder, ito yung panunaw natin eh. Yung bile na nanggagaling sa gallbladder, panunaw natin ng mga fatty food. However, hindi pwedeng totally cut out, yung totally tanggal ng fats because it can actually lead to worse symptoms ng stasis o nung pag-stay ng bile sa loob ng gallbladder. What we can do is to have just lessened fat in the diet or gawin nating moderate yung fat, yes.
Eto,
Ayan.
feeling ko
Eto
lahat
na nga.
tayo narinig to nung mga bata pa tayo.
Aha.
Lalo na pag naglalaro sa labas. Takutan to
Gumagano, pakita niya.
Yun.
Ganun.
Takutan to na kapag daw nakalulun ka ng bubble gum.
Ayun.
Mananatili or magsistay to sa loob ng tiyan mo for 7 years.
Ba, Miss-
Specific. Parang di ko narinig yan before,
7
ha?
years.
Oo,
Lucas
oo.
Graham, is that you?
Ano yun, Doc? True ba yun?
Okay, sabay ko na rin po sa buto ng pakwan.
Ayan.
Ilang, so aside from the gum, buto ng pakwan, yung gum indigestible. Hindi siya natutunaw ng tiyan, but it won't stay there for years. Mailalabas nyo pa rin po siya, even yung mga buto ng pakwan, ganyan. Pag nalunok nyo, huwag kayong matakot kasi may natural way pa rin po yung katawan nating ilabas siya.
Okay. Ayun.
Ay, ito may tanong,
Sige, ayan. How about daw sa colon
Hydrotherapy.
Ayun.
So, actually, wide yan eh, no? Iba-iba yung... Kaya we don't recommend usually mga tinatawag ng mga hydrotherapy. It's just similar to colon cleansing or what we call enema. But iba't iba na yung mga lumalabas ngayon sa market and I would really suggest for you to look for a certified gastroenterologist who would do these procedures. Kasi may some centers, wala pong doctors. Some centers, wala pong certified na physician to actually do it. But I would suggest to have a gastroenterologist do yung mga gantong klaseng cleansing enema.
Yan, meron pa. May dagdag pa tayo. Doc, heavy lifting causes hernia.
Actually, it's not a myth. So, straining, not just hernia, pati yung mga hemorrhoids na tinatawag, any increased pressure in the abdomen, if you actually have hernia, if meron ka na nung hernia, increased pressure, weak yung abdominal muscles mo. Ang hernia kasi parang luslos in a way. It can happen in different parts of the body. Imagine kung ito yung abdominal wall, tapos merong weakness sa any part, magkakaroon po ng ganito, parang luslos, parang lulusot siya. So if you lift heavy, syempre mag-brace ka, tatry mo concentrate dito, increase yung pressure, pwede po talagang lumabas yung tinatawag na hernia. May it be from down there, may it be abdominal, it can also worsen yung tinatawag na hemorrhoids o yung, ano bang Tagalog na hemorrhoids? Wait lang.
We'll get back to it.
Yeah.
We'll get back to it.
Almoranas.
Almoranas.
Sorry. Yeah.
Eto naman. Alcohol na naman. Sa akin na naman natapat ng alcohol.
Sige,
Only
kaya mo yan,
alcoholics get, tama ba bigas ko, cirrhosis?
Yes. So, actually, alcohol, that's not a myth. So, one of the top 3 causes po ng cirrhosis would be tinatawag nating hepatitis, alcohol-induced liver cirrhosis, and lastly, yung tinatawag ng non-alcoholic or yung metabolic-associated fatty liver. So, part po siya ng top 3. And chronic alcoholism, o matagal na pag-inom ng alcohol, 10 to 15 years na heavy daily drinking could lead to cirrhosis. Hindi lang po cirrhosis yung takot natin, sorry sir, cut you, but hindi lang po takot. Ang pagdating natin ng cirrhosis, the most dreaded part would follow is hepatocellular carcinoma or liver cancer. So before pa umabot ng cirrhosis, mag-cut down na po tayo ng pag-take ng alcohol.
May naalala tuloy ako sa liver pero hindi ko pwede sabihin.
Uy, wag na.
Alam mo rin, diba? Okay, sige. Next! Nuts o mani could lead to, ito narinig ko tong term na to pero gusto ko, Doc, ma-explain mo rin kasi medyo confused pa ako kung ano ba talaga to sakit na to. Diverticulitis. Narinig ko siya sa isang wrestling show. May isang wrestler na kasi na may diverticulitis.
Talaga ba? So yung diverticulitis, diverticulosis, para po siyang klase ng pockets. Meron pong pockets sa colon natin. Kung ito po yung tubo na colon natin, meron pong mga little pockets. Yung pagkain ng mani, ang misinterpretation is pagkain natin at maiipit siya doon. Yun po yung standing theory ng diverticulosis na yung maliit na pocket na nasa tiyan natin, may nasa stock na pagkain o nasa stock na puputas na mamaga at nagkakaroon ng infeksyon. There's partial truth to that, but it's not necessarily nuts. Kasi before pa umabot siya, usually nadadigest na natin.
Ayun, nakikita ko image na nilalagay sa prompter.
Ayan,
Ano ba
very
yan?
good
Yan,
yan.
oh.
Yes,
Ayun
please.
yung pocket.
Pwede ba ako mag-ganon?
Dahil pala dito sa touchscreen no sana. Pero ayan, mga nakita ko muna. Ayan.
So yan, very good.
Ayun, oh.
So, if we're gonna, nakita niyo po ba yung diverticula na
Ipa-flash natin yan sa screen. No?
Ayan. So yung mga pockets na yan, pag kumakain po tayo, sometimes some particles, they get stuck inside. Pag na-stuck sila, namamaga, yun po yung tinatawag na diverticulitis. Sometimes po kasi if we have this already, yung tinatawag na diverticula, it's there forever. Wala na pong gamot yan, hindi na po natin siya tanggalin. Ang pwede na po natin maagapan is yung for it to become into diverticulitis, which is yung namamaga na po siya. So what we can do, we can just take in high-fiber diet, make sure po na yung stools natin are soft enough, not really too bulky, para hindi po magkaroon ng any pileup or anything stuck in those diverticula. Yan.
Yan. Salamat sa imaging, Kimi-Kimi.
Grabe yung yung fun fact.
Uy, last na pala. Go lang daw. Go lang.
lang.
Uy, last to na siguro. Dahil baka mag-overtime na naman tayo.
Okay.
Ayan,
Last to na myth. Okay. Beans cause the most gas.
Not necessarily. It could, siguro again, if it's not in moderation, it could cause some, kasi because it's high in fiber, yung mga beans na ganito, pwede siya mag-cause ng flatulence and high gas. But if it's in moderation, it's not enough reason for you to stop eating beans.
Okay.
Last two, isang myth na siguro, isang papayo o patip na lang din
Okay.
siguro. Sige, partner ko na to. Ayan.
Smoking relieves heartburn, ha? Totoo ba yan? Pati ako napatanong, parang may magagawa pala ang smoking para ma-relieve ang ano?
There's a little bit of truth to that. Na initially, na merong sensation of people being relieved of heartburn, but that's only during the start of that smoking. Eventually, after a few years of smoking, it can actually be the cause of heartburn. So from that time, meron ka parang tinatawag na gating, you get that sense of sensation na okay siya. But then after some time, hindi na. And then after that, it could actually lead also to cancer. May it be esophageal, oral cancer, stomach cancer, eventually rectal cancer.
Okay. So, si Elaine, may nakuha naman pang LPI natin.
Wow!
Let's
Shout
begin.
out, Ma'am Elaine.
Ayan, shout out, Elaine. Doc, we're done. As much as we would want to continue, pero baka yung next program nakaantay na sila sa labas. So, Doc, last question na I think, gaano ba kadalas siguro ang tao or someone should see a gastroenterologist kahit na okay ang pakiramdam ng isang tao?
Actually, what I would recommend, especially yung mga age na po ng starting ng screening, is to see your gastroenterologist every 3 to 6 months.
Okay.
So depending on the symptoms, especially starting at 45. Kahit wala kayong symptoms, dun nga po, sa previous episode nabanggit natin yung tinatawag na screening. So better to have that check up with your gastroenterologist that frequent. Apo.
Okay.
Okay, ayun. So,
Eto na.
Oh, ayun
Doc,
na nga, oh.
ano po ang socials ninyo or saan
Refresh,
kayo pwedeng
oh.
makontak ng ating mga viewers and listeners para madali nila kayong ma-reach?
Okay, so Facebook, it's Derek Clotario, and Instagram, it's at @DerekClotario_MD.
And Makati Med.
Ang Makati Medical Center. So, if you want to have your checkups, we provide a lot of services for screening colonoscopies, endoscopies, endoscopic ultrasound. We have it all in Makati Med. So, just contact our concierge, any kind of doctor. We have all specialties in Makati Med.
ayun.
Yun.
Doc, natapos ang part 2.
Oh, so ibig sabihin,
May part 3.
Yeah.
Tama ba kami? For another
Mahirap
time.
po. Marupok po ako eh. So, mabilis po
Samahan na
ako.
natin. Pero, hihinay kami.
Apo, yes.
Hihinay kami. Ayan,
In
partner.
moderation, in moderation.
Kailangan, kailangan ikasa mo. Ayaw ikasa. Ayaw ikasa. Ayun ang gaya ng sabi ni Kim.
sige sa harap ni Doc.
Ayan. Sa harap ni Doc.
Mamaya.
Tapos pagtalikod, gano'n ka
Mamaya
mamaya.
nag-order.
Nakaganon pala.
Thank you so much ulit, Doc.
Thank you,
Maraming
thank you so much,
salamat.
Doc, for the
Thank you so
time.
much.
Okay, ayan. So, thanks, Doc. Derek. And ngayon,
Natapos!
bluer
Ang
than
Ay.
blue. Ay, sige. Ay, ready si Jomel. Bilisan mo na pa.
Ito na,
Nakaready na siya.
natapos na naman ang isang oras ng ating pagsasama-sama upang tulungan ng bawat isa na magkaroon ng life balance sa ating mga buhay. Huwag kalimutan na saluhan kami tuwing Lunes hanggang Biyernes, 6 to 7 yan.
Mapapanood, mapapakinggan sa DWIZ 882, DWIZ News FM regional station, sa DWIZ News TV at sa social media platforms via live streaming. Jomel, ready ka na?
Yan! Let's go!
Sige.
Game!
Salita na lang tayo dyan. Sige, go
Game.
partner. Thank you.
Maraming salamat sa aming mga nakatulong sa broadcast na ito. TOC.
Thank you!
Audiotech.
Thank you!
TV Production.
At social media.
Thank you!
Ayun.
Magkita-kita po tayo bukas. Ako po si Guia Rafael.
At ako naman si Daryl Justin at ito ang
DWIZ
Life Balance. Ang baka na susunod programa ng ere sa DWIZ.